Hello and welcome to another exciting Breakfast with Unity. I'm your host Max Moreau, and we're going to be doing an audio crossfade today, or at least trying to do one. So I've already added to the project. If you download the zip file in the description, it already has this Vadodora chill mix. We had already had Volatile reaction from a previous project. I just need to make sure that we had a second music file so that we could actually crossfade between. Hopefully it will pick up on the microphone. Whatever we do, though, if you're following along or download the project, it should work good once we have it working. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little music manager script. We're just gonna create a C# script, and we're gonna call it Music Manager. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna quit this thing. I guess I'm not going to quit that thing. So Music Manager, and what we're going to do is this thing will be playing music, and we need to have a function to allow it to crossfade to a different track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do. Let's first set this up, kind of. I'm just going to save the script. It doesn't do anything yet, but we're just going to create an empty object. I'm just going to call this Music Manager. I also want to note you can set this to alphabetical sort. Originally, you had to make a script to actually do that, but if you are on the latest version of 4.6, in the preferences, there is a enable alphanumeric sorting, which automatically adds that option. I like it because it allows us to put like a $sign in front of something and ensure that it's at the top, and I generally have an easier time finding things alphabetically. Your mileage may vary, so choose whatever is appropriate. You can switch between them very quickly, and sometimes it's helpful to know what the actual transform order is. So I got this music manager. We're going to throw the music manager on it. We're going to need an audio component, so I'm going to go ahead and add an audio source. And we're just going to give it a clip here. So I'm going to go to third-party license. We're just going to grab Volatile reaction for our first clip. And I'm just going to set it to loop so that we have it ready to go. Also, I'm going to make sure that both of these are set to 2D sounds. Hopefully this won't affect our other projects. It shouldn't. But really for music, it should be set to 2D. I should have done this earlier because it has a little bit of a lead time. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing the audio component, and then we're going to be creating a second audio source and crossfading between. And hopefully this will all work. I've done this once before in the past, so I do have experience with it, but I did remember running into some problems. That's kind of part of the reason that I picked it, is because I wanted to see if we can run into some problems. So I know that sounds strange, especially considering I always sound like I'm trying to make the episodes shorter when actually I'm always fighting to make them longer, because the more mistakes that happen, the more that people can learn from them. So what are we doing? As soon as this is done, I'm just going to make sure that it plays. So if we hit play, we should hear some music. There's some music. And that's all we get because we got nothing else in the scene. And since this is audio only, it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to actually quit this time. All right. And we're going to add a function here called, and we're going to have to make this into a singleton, or at least a ghetto singleton. So public static music manager instance. And in awake, you'd always use awake for stuff that should happen before anything else, and this is definitely a case for that. So instance equals this. Awake happens before, all awake calls happen before the first start call on any object, so you can guarantee that this is ahead of a lot of stuff. So we got instances equals this, and what we're going to do is I'm going to leave the update there. We might need it, we may not. I'm going to go ahead and create another function though called static public static void crossfade. And what we'll do is this will take an audio clip, new track, and a float fade time. And I'm going to set a default for that. We're going to set it to 1.0 F. You can do this in function declarations, and if you do it, it means that if you don't specify a second parameter, it will just be 1 second. So you can also do this by the old school method, and there's actually some minor advantages to this, mostly in the way that MonoDevelop actually reads the headers. You could have two functions, one of them that just has one parameter, one of them that has both parameters. That would also work. And then the one with no parameters, you program it in. That's how you would do it in like C++, because there was no concept of default values that you can do inline like that. So what are we doing? So we have the new track, and we're currently playing the track on our audio thing, and we're going to have a second audio source. So we're going to temporarily make a second audio source. So we're going to do... how do we want to do this? All right, so we're going to say audio source new track equals add component, game object dot component, where is this thing? Add component to game object. Game object dot add component. Okay, so it's there. It's just I'm not finding it for some reason. Equals game object dot add. All right. So is this? Oh, maybe it's game object dot add component, probably. There we go. So this is our game object, and we're adding a component to it. Now this won't actually work because this is a static function here, so we need to say instance dot game object dot add component, and we're going to add the audio source component. Now, one thing that's cool about these little calls is these will return what we've just added. So we could just do instance dot game. I think they'll return what we just added. New track is already defined in the scope. Oh, we called it new track. New track. All right, we'll call this new audio source. So when you call add component, this will just add a component to the object immediately. You can also immediately get it as a return value. So if you want to start working with it, you can. This is really useful for this type of thing. So we now have the new audio. We're going to set the new audio source dot volume equals 0.0f, and I'm going to go ahead and start playing the new audio source. So we're going to do new audio source dot play. The other thing is we're going to have to use this in another function. We could either pass it in, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to... Oh, we could pass it in. Let's pass it in. So we're going to do start coroutine. The other option is we could make a private variable here to store the new audio source, but I'm just going to do start coroutine, crossfade. I'm going to call it crossfade. I guess you could call it crossfade coroutine or something else. It just needs to have a different name than what we call it here. And I actually don't know if this should be capitalized here. Probably, I don't know. I'm going to leave it lowercase. It feels right that way, but maybe that convention probably depends on the person. So we're just going to pass in the... we're just going to pass in both the variables. Why not? Just new track. And we're also going to need the new audio source. I'm going to make some... no, we'll do it. So new audio source. And actually, we don't need the track because the track is already... Oh, we didn't do that. Let's do that. So new audio source dot audio. No. Dot clip equals new track. And so audio source dot clip equals new track. New audio source dot play. Actually crossfade, new audio source, new track, and fade time. So now we actually have to write this little function. So we're going to go into here and do, and again, we probably have to do a pub instance dot start coroutine here. So now we're going to do public, or just I enumerator for a coroutine, and we're going to call it actually crossfade. And we have to make sure that it has the matching parameters here. So, and we don't need new track actually. The reason we don't is because we've already said it here. We'll just assume this all up there. So we need an audio source, new source. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be named the same because we're passing in the values. And fade time. So, oh yeah, float, fade time. So we're going to have a timer variable because we have a fade time, so we're going to do float t equals 0.0f. We're going to do one of these classics while t is less than fade time. What we will do now is, so both the tracks should be playing at this point, and we're going to be raising one value up and then lowering the other value down. And so we're going to need the t plus equals time dot delta time. I'm just doing that so I don't forget. And we're going to need a yield return null, just before I forget. And then we actually need our logic up here. So so what we're going to do is new source dot there's maybe a couple things that we have to do here, but I'm just going to power through at this point. So new source dot volume equals mathf dot lerp. So from is 0.0f, 2 is 1.0f, and t is t divided by fade time. I've done this a lot. So this just returns a floating value between 0 and 1 based on our time. And then audio dot volume. This is the audio source that was already on the object. You can add multiple audio sources, and audio always has the first source. If we remove one later, which I'm going to show, the new source will instantly become the audio, the default one that you get. So it doesn't actually become that. It's because of reference when you grab it. I'm not going to get into that. So this one can equal new source.volume. So 1.0 minus new source.volume. So as the new source volume goes up, this one will go down. So now we do time plus equals delta time, yield return null, we're done. And then finally at the end, what we're going to do is new source dot volume is new source dot volume equals 1.0f. Finally, what we're going to do is there was one more thing. Oh yeah, we're going to destroy audio. There's a few different ways you could do this stuff. This is just one of them. So there's always like 100 ways to do things. So this should work, hopefully, if we call it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another script here, a companion script called, actually we'll call it Crossfade on button. And what are we doing? Wait, what's the problem? Object reference is required. Oh yeah, so oh yeah, new audio source and fade time. Wait, why is this giving me a problem? Object reference is required to access non-static member, actually crossfade. Oh, maybe it's instance.actually crossfade. Is that required? Okay, good. And cannot implicitly convert from double to float. Oh, that's because I didn't put the F there. There we go. Remember, if you just do 1.0, that's a double, and those are expensive, and you generally don't want that. Crossfade on button. What we're going to do is we're going to have, I'm going to call it audio track 1 and audio track 2. Public float, public audio clip, track 1, public audio clip, track 2. And all we're going to do is in update, if we, the other thing we should do is we should definitely stop all coroutines when we actually do this before we do it. So if we call Crossfade again, we go stop all coroutines. This only stops all the coroutines on this object. If you want to stop a specific one, you can also give a parameter that actually corresponds to the one that you want to stop. But this will be appropriate for only having one coroutine possible currently on the script. So in update, what we're doing is public, actually private, bool track, current track equals false. That's a weird way of putting it. Let's just do an index. Let's private int current track equals 0. So what we're gonna do, I guess we could make this even more robust and have it be a set of audios, but we don't have more than 2, so I'm just gonna have this hard code. This is more of a test setup just to show how you'd call this. So we're gonna do music if input.get button down, and we want to have public string button name equals fire1, get button down button name. If we get that button down, can't keep a good button down, we're going to music manager.crossfade okay, so first of all, we're going to do current track plus plus if current track, and actually I'm going to make this an array. Since we're already kind of setting it up like that anyway. We're only going to have 2 things in it, but we'll just have it cycle through all of them. So if current track is greater than or equal to the tracks dot length, current track equals 0. So we'll wrap back around. Then finally, what we're going to do is music manager.crossfade tracks current track and fade time. I'm gonna go ahead and specify. We'll just leave it like that. We'll just not specify a fade time, and it'll give us 1 second. I guess we could let's actually do this. Let's do public float fade time equals 1.0 f here, and now we can just pass in fade time. So now we can adjust that as a variable. So we just do that, and theoretically this should be all we need. Let's see if it works. We probably have some problems, but we'll see. First of all, we've got a problem. Stop all coroutines. We need instance.stop all coroutines. Save. All right, so let's give it a shot. So we've got main camera already has music manager already has the script here. I'm just going to put crossfade on button on music manager. It could be on any object. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to add our tracks. So we've got our first track is Volatile Reaction. I want to make sure that's consistent so that we don't have the if we crossfade to the same track. Well, actually, I guess it would still work. But so let's give it a shot. So we hit play, and if we hit Control, and if we hit Control again, you can hear that it actually crossfaded. Second one's harder because it has a slower intro, evidently. Let's just look at that to make sure that that's the case. So, Volatile Reaction starts right into it. You can see that there's a little bit of a fade in here. So it doesn't sound so great on the crossfade back. But you can definitely hear that it's crossfading between the two. So there is a bug though. If we hit it twice quickly... Oh, what did we do? Alright, I didn't know that that was going to happen. I think we've added a whole bunch of audio sources. Yes, we have. Alright, so let's fix that real quick. So I think the problem is we add one, we actually destroyed it at the end of actually crossfade. Okay, that's an interesting bug. Yeah, I see what's happening. So we never actually destroy the audio unless it gets to the end of actually crossfade. So in the case that we interrupt it, we have this problem. So what I'm gonna do is we don't want to destroy the audio if it's done because we don't want to lose what we're already playing. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, remember, if we destroy the audio, audio automatically becomes the new audio source that we had there. So what I'm going to change it to instead is we're going to do, so we have stop all coroutines. After we stop all the coroutines, we're going to do if get component, if instance.get components audio source dot length is greater than 0. So if we have more than one, what we're going to do is we're going to destroy audio. So at this point, the previous audio clip that was on the second audio clip that we had added should start working. I think this will fix that bug. Let's find out. Oh, errors. Non-static member. Oh yeah, instance. Oh wait, no. Destroy, we don't need. We need instance.io. Save, because it's a static function. So we do that. We hit play. And now I'm going to spam some buttons. Well, now it's not crossfading. Alright, what do we do? If there's more than one, is greater than 0. Oh, it's greater than 1. That's what we want. Save. Play. Alright, so it's crossfading. It's crossfading. Now I'm going to try and break it. Now you can hear that it's working now. I don't think we're getting a whole bunch of additional audio sources. We just should just have 2 during the fade. So we'll see 1 extra and then it goes away. So what I'm going to do now is, let's face you heard that popping. Let's fix that. This is a really quick one. So the problem is we're not taking the current volume into account in our equation here. So if you interrupt the coroutine, you'll run into this problem where the audio suddenly jumps values. So what we want is we want new source.volume to actually be it shouldn't start at 0. Oh wait, that one should start at 0. I may have to rewrite this just slightly. So let's see. We fade out. I'm just thinking through this. This thing will always start at 0 because it starts at 0 because it's a new track. But this one won't. So I'm actually going to reverse these values. Alright, we're going to have 2 LERPs. It doesn't matter. Because we have this special case. So mathf.lerp and we want this to start at not 1.0 but audio.volume. Oh wait, we need to store this. So float initial volume equals audio.volume. So we use initial volume because we don't want it to be reading the current audio.volume during the lerp. So initial volume, and the 2 in this case is 0.0f because we're going down, and then t divided by fade time. So let's see if that solves our audio pop problem. Play. I think that's working a lot better. So I'm going to call that a show. Save scene. Oh yeah. Crossfade. And we're going to put this on 40 audio crossfade. Or we're going to put it on... I'm going to sort it by date. And then... What am I doing here? None. There we go. Okay, now it's not crazy. So audio crossfade, save. So save scene, save project, and we're done. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I'll be useful for you guys. And if you have any problems or questions, please email me pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Dragfire. Please support us on Patreon. Oh yeah, also, happy 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. We have a big channel now. I mean, this is amazing. So we've got how do I get to our? We'll just go unity.rocks. We've got 10,000 subscribers, 10,044 subscribers, which is awesome. This is a reason to celebrate. And we should do something special. I haven't really figured out anything because I've been really busy lately, but yeah, so yay guys. Also, please support us on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/cookingwithunity. I must have cleared my cache recently. Here we have, you can donate to the show. And let's just do some math here. If we do 10,000 divided by 21 divided by 10,000. So the guys that have donated, you are in the 0.002%. Congratulations, or at least the 0.003%. We got to round that a little bit differently. So so let's bring this percentage up. I would love to see more of you guys donating. It would really, really, really help. Even if you just do $1, it would really help. Thank you very much for your support. Anyway, you guys have a great one, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another Breakfast with Unity.